Whoa, wait a minute. Daryl, UFO landed in DC? What are you talking about? Hey, Daryl. We will have a cone sighting, I promise. I promise, I promise. Oh, that sun is bright. Yeah, we'll definitely have a cone sighting. Federal Triangle. Hey everyone, this is the corner of 7th and E Streets in Northwest Washington, D.C. We're gonna check out the theater district here in Washington. Now we've been on 7th Street before to look at some historic architecture and also to look at the a few museums and the Capital One Arena. But here we're going to start today on 7th Street at the Landsberg, which is the, and of course a great big huge bendy bus is going to get in the way. As soon as the bendy bus moves, we're going to look at the Landsberg, which used to be the main theater of the Shakespeare Theater Company. But we're going to go to the newer Sidney Harmon Hall in a minute. When I've been to performances here at the Klein Theater, which is smaller and a wee bit older than the new Sidney Harmon Hall. But this is the Shakespeare Theater, the Landsberg. Shakespeare Theater Company's Klein Theater here on 7th Street. We'll walk down 7th Street. I'm going to have to talk over some music or go on mute a little bit here around some of these restaurants. Hey Daryl, how are you? I'm passing Carmine's and I'm sure the song is out of copyright, but this version might not be out of copyright, so I'm gonna talk. And here you'll see signs here all along 7th Street in this area for the different theaters. So we just passed the Shakespeare Theater's Klein Theater, and now we're gonna head down to the Woolly Mammoth. We're walking south toward D Street. Someone really important. Maybe there's a basketball game tonight. Can't be a basketball. What is this? This is some sort of sports team. Don't know who it is. They're moving really fast. Okay. Now, chat, you'll have to look it up. Did someone visit the White House today? Did some sports team visit the White House, or are they headed to the Capital One Arena? But it's not. Aren't we done with basketball season and hockey season? I don't know. Yeah, it can't be the W. Yeah, it's not. It's not. Maybe it is still NBA. I don't know because I don't follow pro basketball. College basketball is so much better. So yeah, I don't know who that was coming through DC with a police escort there. But here you'll see signs all around this area for the different theaters and the different productions in this area. So we're continuing south, and I'm going to continue to babble over the music. Maybe I'll go mute for a second again. Sorry. Get a really nice view of that building here on the corner of 7th and D Street in Northwest Washington, D.C. If we kept going down here, down this street, we would cross the National Mall and we'd be at the Air and Space Museum, just about 3 blocks that way. But we're gonna turn this way, going east on D Street, and here's the second theater on our little theater walk tonight. This is the Woolly Mammoth. This is a great theater for independent theater productions. Really nice. Up, more music. That's the problem around here is the music. I'm going to go mute here so we can take a look at the playbill and see what's coming. So here you can see some of the productions that are on its way to the Woolly Mammoth Theater. Ali Wong and Bill Hader. Dead Inside, The Great Privation, Ho 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 Ha 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 Ha, and a few others coming to the Woolly Mammoth. So this is it. Theater number 2, in really short distance. Woolly Mammoth Theater. Woo. Here on D Street in Northwest Washington, D.C. And as you can tell, great place to be. Lots of restaurants, lots of music going on a Thursday night. So if you come to Washington, D.C., this is a really nice place to walk around. Just a short distance from the National Mall and all the memorials and the monuments. This is one. Now I have shown this building before, but this is architecture that I absolutely love. 629 D Street in Northwest Washington, D.C. That's a really good one. That's a really good one. I love that. And this entire block, each structure here is different. We have different architecture, and then flanked by office buildings. Hello, Cup. How are you? So we're walking our way east. Did I say west before? Oh my gosh, that's wrong. We're walking our way east on D Street. So the numbers of the streets are going to get smaller. So we've gone from 7th Street to 6th Street up here. Then we'll hang a left on 6th Street and go to our 3rd theater of this tour, which is the other Shakespeare Company theater, the newer Sydney Harmon Hall, where a couple months ago I went to see Uncle Vanya with Hugh Bonneville, Lord Grantham himself, from Downton Abbey. It was great. Really nice production. This is the courthouse, the District of Columbia Courthouse complex here. For the most part, these buildings are just, we'll politely say, concrete monstrosities around here. We did do our brutalist tour last week, and there are some beautiful brutalist examples. So that one I'm not a fan of. I wouldn't even call it brutalist. It's like trying to be modern. But this one is really nice. I think for brutalism to work, there needs to be some symmetry, and this one definitely has it. Now, I'm not sure if this used to be the Securities and Exchange Commission. I'm not sure if it still is. But we'll stop and get a look here at this one as best we can without getting into traffic. Woo, these streets are a little narrower here, so a little bit harder to get a good view of the larger structures. Hope everyone is having a fabulous day today. Okay, so here's where all these buses ended up. I'm gonna ask this guy. Oh, is there a sign there? Georgia Bulldogs. Okay. Georgia Bulldogs. Don't know why. Don't know what they're here for. But that was the Georgia Bulldogs getting a police escort. Hi there. How are you? These are, this is Georgia, the Georgia Bulldogs basketball?
No.
No.
No. This is like an elementary school.
Oh, so you weren't, okay, because there were buses that just got a police escort.
Oh, yeah, no, that wasn't.
No, this is an elementary, oh, okay, the Bulldog, okay. We saw them go that way, and then we didn't know where they went or why, because hockey season's over, right? So, anywho, but nice to meet you. Thank you. Okay, so not the Georgia Bulldogs, and these are not the buses we saw, unless that guy was totally trying to throw me off the track. These buses are an elementary school visiting here in Washington, D.C., and they probably would not have gotten a police escort. So we're still on the trail to find where those, I bet those buses went to the arena, but now I got to figure out who's playing at the, hey Highlander, can you tell me who is playing at the Capital One Arena tonight in Washington, D.C.? You just missed this massive police escort, and we don't know I don't know what the team it was, like hockey's over, so lots of art here, lots of murals in this part of Washington, D.C. Thank you, Highlander. I appreciate it. I have a researcher on staff. Thank you, Highlander. Now, this is another one of those examples of new architecture that is behind the facades on this street, on 6th Street, but it also creeps out into the corner. So you can see the new building on the corner and behind. But as we walk up 6th Street, you'll see that the facades have been preserved. Let's just make our way across the street safely first. Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. Or whatever the sports arena, I think it's still called Capital One Arena. It's the big arena in Washington, D.C. No, Capital One Hall is a concert hall in Tyson's Corner, Virginia. Yeah, Capital One is a big bank that sponsors a lot of stuff. They may be slightly a predatory lender, but I'm not going to go there, allegedly. So we see the new construction behind these beautifully preserved facades dating back to the 1800s here on 6th Street between E and F Streets in Northwest Washington, D.C. Yeah, okay, Highlander, thank you so much. I'm also wondering, so it was definitely a sports team, I think, just from what I could see through the windows. I'm wondering if someone went to the White House today, to meet the prez or something, but I thought he was somewhere else. So, anywho, 4 big buses got a police escort. We'll figure that out. But here we see the next sign for a performance, and this one is for the Shakespeare Theater Company at Harmon Hall, which is right around, hey, Davyverse, hey, thank you for joining. So we've already covered 3 theaters in this area of Washington, which is called Penn Quarter, Pennsylvania Avenue Quarter, but it's shortened to Penn Quarter in Northwest Washington. And we're just admiring some 1800s architecture kind of mixed in with brand new modern buildings. Now, if I'm careful, I can walk in the street here because 6th Street is not a busy street. You'll see this great firehouse here. I love this firehouse. On the other side of this firehouse, and we have visited it before, so check out my earlier live streams, is the National Fire Dog Memorial, which is super cute. A memorial to all the fire dogs. But this is the fire station, just steps from the arena where the Wizards and the Capitals play, hence the red, white, and blue decoration. Now this door here If you do visit Sydney Harmon Hall and go to a fantastic production of the Shakespeare Theater Company here, this is where you would stand to wait for autographs. So the stage door is here on 6th Street, just south of F Street. Now, I swear to goodness, when I came here to see Uncle Vanya, I walked around this block 3 times and did not see stage door. I'm not kidding. And this was just like 2 months ago. I even asked people, was there a stage door? And they said no. So sadly, I did not get Hugh Bonneville's autograph. I usually do hang out by the stage doors and get autographs. I saw Ian McKellen's one-man show in London about 4 years ago. 4 years ago, when he turned 80, he did 80 shows. And I went there and they said, with all due respect, Mr. McKellen needs his rest. Or Sir McKellen needs his rest, so he won't be signing autographs. But it was nice to hang out with the people anyway and wait for him not to come out. But I do totally respect him needing his rest in his 80th year. I think the best one I've gotten is Helen Mirren. I got Helen Mirren's autograph after her performance of The Audience in New York, where she was playing the Queen Elizabeth II, the late Queen Elizabeth II. Great performance. And then I think she was followed up by Kristen Scott Thomas in that play. All right. Yes, it is still called the Capital One Arena. I heard a rumor that the Potomac is so polluted no one eats the fish from there. I wouldn't eat the fish from the Potomac close to the city. I would definitely eat, and I do eat the seafood from the Chesapeake Bay in Maryland. I would say it's so polluted compared to, years gone by. It's actually pretty clean. Cleaner, I should say. And so here it, whoa, I am going to cross over. I'll cross over to get a better view of the Sydney Harmon Hall. So now we're here on F Street between 6th and 7th, just across from the Capital One Arena. And this is the Shakespeare Theater Company's larger arena, theater, I should say, the Sydney Harmon Hall. And it's modern. You can see the glass lobbies on the 2nd, 3rd floor. Place to hang out in between acts during intermission and before the performance. So if you're in Washington, do check it out. I'm so glad there's no music playing here. I shouldn't talk because as soon as I say it, it'll happen. And here's another view of Sydney Harmon Hall. So that's our 3rd theater on our theater trek today here in Washington, D.C. I mean, these are just steps away from each other. And, we could do a sports tour. We could do a sports tour too. And this is the arena. Honoring Alexander Ovechkin, who eclipsed Wayne Gretzky for all-time goals scored. I still think Gretzky is the greatest. But we're really proud of Ovechkin. Of course. Hi, Blue Fire Flamethrower. Great to meet you. So glad you could join today. Boy, I can't talk today. It's still a lot of pollen. The last few days have been a wee bit unbearable. So I'm walking west now on F Street in Northwest Washington, D.C. We've passed the Shakespeare Theater Company's Klein Theater in the Landsberg. We've passed the Woolly Mammoth Theater. And we just passed the Sydney Harmon Hall. So this is where you get your plays. This is where you come to see your plays, your Shakespeare, your independent theater, your small theater. This is a former department store, which I've done a video on before. It has a Mi Vida on the first floor now. And we've also taken a look at different metro stops, and I've shared, and maybe you'll agree, that Washington, D.C. metro stops leave something to be desired architecturally. I do like the columns that mark the lines. So this is Gallery Place. This is a hub where the red, green, and yellow lines converge. So I like these, but the actual stations are bleh. Most of the stations just happen to be built, you know, underneath existing structures. Like, here's the entrance to this one. I mean, that's it. There's no beautiful Art Nouveau like in Paris, or, you know, beautiful 19th century brick standalone buildings like in London. It's boring. It's blah. So if I were to go north on 7th Street, I have several videos going north on 7th Street. I love this area. We would go all the way up to New York Avenue, but we're not going to today. We're going to go to our next theater. And here's just a quick peek at the National Portrait Gallery and the Smithsonian's Museum of American Art, which is in this building here, a former federal building. Hey, Pete, thank you so much. Yeah, Daryl, there's police everywhere, but they keep us safe. They do keep us safe. Thank you, Highlander. I appreciate it. I will hydrate. I know. Hydrate and allergy pills today, for sure. So we're headed to our next theater, which is very different from the two theaters we've already looked at. Because our next theater is Ford's Theater, the theater where Abraham Lincoln was shot, and he died across the street from the theater in a house across the street. But we're headed to Ford's Theater now. Walking west on F Street. F Street, if you've joined my prior streams, even if you haven't joined my prior streams, F Street is always was a mecca for shopping. And so many of those facades from those shops have been preserved. So it's great to look at. There's a really nice building on the corner here now. The sun will be directly in front of us shortly, so I need to kind of work my way to stay in the shade to get a good shot. I don't know, is what pink? Oh, the Allegra? That's my allergy medicine. Sorry, this is not an advertisement for Allegra. I think it's like purpley pink. But yeah, I need one. And here is the main entrance to the National Portrait Gallery. And this building was designed by Robert Mills. And this was the patent office. This was the original United States Patent Office from 1852. We'll take it. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. Okay. Trying not to shoot into the sun. Hello, Alfonso. Hi, Sparrow. Sparrow, we're in Washington, D.C. We're checking out the theater district in Washington, D.C. So we visited the two Shakespeare theaters, the Klein Theater and Sidney Harmon Hall. We visited the Woolly Mammoth Theater, which is a great independent theater. Now we're heading to the historic Ford's Theater. But we're going to stop and admire this beautiful block of what used to be former shops and commercial buildings. And you can see in the middle there the Adams building with the Nando's on the first floor, or the ground floor, as you all say in Britain, but we call that the first floor. You can see that the Adams building was built in 1876. That's old for us. I know it's not old for Europeans, but for us, that's pretty old. We think anything over 100 years old is really interesting and historic. Now, if you were with me a couple of Saturdays ago, I walked from south of here, and then I came up. This is 9th Street, and then I walked north on 9th Street because I passed this sculpture. So now I'm passing it, walking west on F Street. This building here, which is currently a hotel, I think, I need to research it. I think it was originally built as a hotel. But this one, magnificent. Just magnificent. Late 1800s or early 1900s on this one. I'm going to say early 1900s on this one. It has that 1910 feel to it. Also, as you can see trees on the roof and umbrellas. Many of the buildings here, many of the hotels have restaurants on the roof. And we visited one, let's see, probably 2 or 3 months ago, maybe April or May. We went to the View. Hey there, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I like the outfit.
Why, thank you. That's really kind of you. And where are you from? Médecins Sans Frontières. Let me say it again. Médecins Sans Frontières. Sans Frontières. Thank you. And thanks for the good work you do.
Thank you. No problem. That's not even it.
My French teacher in high school, she tried. I gotta give it to her. She tried, but it is hard to wipe out a Baltimore accent, especially when you're trying to teach youngsters some French. Just doesn't make it easy for sure. But I do appreciate her efforts. I'm gonna go mute because this music is making me, nope, the music went away. Okay. Am I a citizen of the USA? Yes. Yes. Yes, they are very old. They're hysterical. Historical. I'm losing it today. It's Thursday. I'm ready for the weekend. So I do think historical buildings are wonderful, and maybe they're hysterical too in some sense. But we're making our way down F Street to our next theater. And we're passing some great restaurants in some very historic buildings. And I am sorry that I'm walking really fast. It's the music playing. I don't want to get a copyright claim on this stream, so I'm sorry for walking fast and babbling a little bit when I'm making my way from one place to another. Now I can slow down a little bit. And we'll take a second to look at some of the architecture across the street. Some of the other preserved artifices between some of the more modern architecture. Succotash is in the old Equitable building here. Check that out. Goodbye, Mr. Texas. Bye. We invite all kinds to this channel, except super rude people. We even invite Boston Red Sox fans here. It's okay. The National Union Building. Now, I've visited this building in the morning, but when you really appreciate architecture, you have to visit in the morning and in the afternoon or evening to get the sun from the different angles. And I actually think afternoon is the best for this building here. Hi, Paul, Mark. From Poland. Very nice to meet you. And then the Ben Schwartz building next door and several others. We're going to get down and see that Atlantic building. That's another one of my favorites. Now, on previous streams, the signal goes really bad here. It looks like I have 5 bars, so I think I'm okay. But if I do drop off, I do apologize. Take a look at some of these. Am I an architect? No, I'm a historian who loves architecture, but I am not a trained architect. No. I am an historian and a writer and a genealogist in all of my free time. During the workday, I have a real job. This one was built in 1887. This is the Atlantic building. In the old days, these would be shops on the first floor, perhaps factories, making products on the upper floors and then selling them on the ground floor. But this 1887, that is just so typical of the late 1800s. And this area is full of them, just full of them. And thankfully, modern businesses occupy the first floors of these historic buildings, or else these historic buildings would no longer be here. So, we're glad there's a Nando's. And we're glad there are other businesses in these buildings, or else they might not be here. Oh, Rajesh, very nice to meet you. You're an architect from Delhi. Wonderful to meet you. No, I have no skills whatsoever. I just appreciate beautiful architecture. But today our theme is the theaters. And so we're going to our next theater after we get a really nice view of this one. I love this corner. I do. These three are just so beautifully preserved from the 1800s. Just a treat to look at. But we're gonna walk our way across F Street. Actually, we're gonna go to the other side. I think we're gonna go to the other side to visit historic Ford's Theater, where President Lincoln was shot. He died across the street, at the house across the street, which we'll take a look at as well. Now here's one of those, again, preserved police or fire call boxes. This one does not have art installed. I think probably 90% of the ones we've found so far no longer have art installed, or maybe never did. So I'm gonna do some research and figure out what's going on there. I'm going to cross over so we can get a better look at Ford's Theater. And it's 6:45 now, and you can see the traffic from 6 o'clock till now has really died down. But that's the historic Ford's Theater, managed by our National Park Service as an obvious national historic landmark. That's the historic building. The new part of the building is here, and performances happen here. So this is still a working theater, as well as a preserved historic landmark. Careful of the traffic. And this is where all the tour buses stop. I expect they'll be lining up. But yeah, we'll take a good look here at Ford's Theater. It has a light on top. Oh, what has a light on top? I'm not sure what has a light on top. And then just a peek directly across the street here at the house where Abraham Lincoln was brought after he was shot. And this is where he died. So directly across the street from Ford's Theater. Right here. Now I will give you a sneak peek, even though this is theater tour today, so that's number 4 on our tour. There's that FBI building again. It's so big, we've encountered it several times in several tours. But it's that big brutalist building there. One more look here. Then we're going to go back. Thank you, Sparrow. Thanks for joining. I really appreciate it. We're going to make our way back up north. Here, I didn't mention, we're on 10th Street now. We're on 10th and F Street in Northwest Washington, D.C. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed some of the tour.
Thank you. We're about to get in Uber now. What are you doing tonight? You said you
Now we have 2 more theaters on the agenda.
I wear them all the time. So where you can dress down.
And
I need some.
we're walking west on F Street, just taking a minute to check the bars. This is where I lose signal. Be careful here. Don't want to lose the stream here. We have 2 more theaters on our agenda today. And we will take a look at the historic Woodward and Lothrop building. Another one we've looked at on a prior stream. But definitely an historic landmark. Such a nice night. Oh, I won't make the light. We'll be stuck here for a minute. But while we're stuck here on 11th Street, again, you'll get another look at some great buildings, both new and old. Even the newer architecture, like this one here on the corner, if you can see, there are some elements around the windows that are done in Art Deco style. And this one I doubt was built in the 1920s or 30s, but the design elements certainly honor this area. And that's what I like about when there's a variety of architectural styles, it adds interest. And especially when the newer styles work hard to fit in with the historic architecture. We're going to go 2 more blocks to the west, and then we're going to turn left on 13th Street for our next 2 theaters. It's a good walk today. It's not too humid. It's warm, but it's not humid at all. Now that's a nice one to look at. We're at the corner now of F and 12th Streets in Northwest Washington, D.C. I do not know what this building is, but I'm going to look that one up because that one is quite beautiful. We'll definitely learn more about this one. And here we go, another metro sign and another metro station that is nothing to look at. But that's owing to the fact that the metro system in Washington, D.C. was built in the 1970s. So it had to be incorporated into the existing architecture for the most part. There are very few standalone stations. Those are mostly in the suburbs where you'll find a standalone station. So here in the city, the metro stations are built under the existing structures. So it's not like London or Paris where you get beautiful architecture around the stations. You don't. You get a column and you get a stairway under a building. That's what you get. So Metro Center is also a hub for the red, blue, orange, and silver lines. And it's a big station. It's kind of the main station. But, you know, here it is. Here's the station. You get some escalators down to the basement. Now, I mentioned that our stations in the suburbs are purpose-built metro stations. They didn't have to be built under existing structures. And they were built in the 70s, 80s, 90s, even in the 2000s. There's still construction going on in the metro. But I find that they also lack character. Even though they're purpose-built, they all look very similar. So here's a map of the metro. This is an old one. It doesn't have the silver line on it. So there is a silver line that goes east-west. That is not on this map, so that's an oldie. The silver line opened, what, 2 years ago? Year and a half ago? I think a year and a half ago. The full silver line. From New Carrollton in Maryland out to Ashburn, Virginia, and maybe even beyond. Thank you, Sparrow. That's really sweet of you. I appreciate it. I'm really honored that architects find their way into my streams, which is so nice. I appreciate the work that you do. It's art, right? It's functional art. We need buildings. Why not make them beautiful? And why not make them last? All right, we are at 13th and F Street, and I have to do this because the sun is right in the camera. And we're at our, is this the 4th or 5th? This is our 5th theater. We've had 2 Shakespeare theaters. We've had Woolly Mammoth Theater. We've had Ford's Theater. And now we are at the Warner Theater. Here at the Warner, this is where like their stand-up acts. Who did I see here at the Warner? I can't even remember. It wasn't Eddie Izzard. I saw someone at the Warner. I just don't remember who. Getting a little old. Can't remember things. When it's safe, we'll cross over to get a better view. Probably not a good idea to cross in the middle here. And I don't recommend this. I don't. I do know Washington, but I also know I should be smarter than this. Okay. So looking down 13th Street, you would head toward, if you went this way, you'd be heading toward the National Mall, the Reagan Building, the federal office buildings on the National Mall. But here is the historic Warner Theater. Theater. I have to try not to say theater. The Warner Theater. And if you look really carefully, you can see all the detail on this beautiful building. Intricately carved stone.
Oh, I parked the car right here, literally.
All the beautiful theatrical motifs around the building. So that's the Warner Theater. So that's number 5 on our theater tour, our really quick theater tour this evening. One more. We won't make it to the Kennedy Center. The Kennedy Center is about 15 blocks to the west of here, and we have visited the Kennedy Center, so I'm not going to do that one today. But we are going to visit right around the corner here, the National Theater. And I did see a production of Les Miserables here at the National Theater. I might have seen something else, or I may have seen Les Miserables twice here, because I've seen it 6 times. I think I've seen it 6 times. Once in New York, once at the Hippodrome in Baltimore, at least twice here, and I think I also saw it in London, and maybe even someplace else. I may have seen it twice in New York. I think I saw it twice in New York. You can't get enough of Les Mis. All right. So here we're back on Pennsylvania Avenue. I said this area is called Penn Quarter. Let me try that one more time. Penn Quarter, which is the area around Pennsylvania Avenue. Let's get one more look back at the Warner Theater. And here in front of us is Freedom Plaza, which is another of the green spaces here in Washington, D.C. But we're crossing over so that we get a really good view of the National Theater. And what's playing now, or what's about to play, is Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. I'm going to try to get in the shade so that the sun... Those were not metro buses with the... No, those were private hire buses, Daryl. And I'm always on the lookout for one of the Cylon buses here. So our metro buses have kind of the eye going back and forth, like the Cylons, also kind of like Knight Rider, you know, the red eye going back and forth. Our buses have that. And I've told the story. I won't tell the story again of me being a kid and actually having a dream. I was like 5, but I'm having a dream that I'm driving a car and I look in my rearview mirror and a Cylon radar is swooping down on the car. And then as I get older, I'm working here and I look in my rearview mirror and there's the bus with the eye. So, little portentous, as they say. Okay, I'm trying to, like, these cars, like, why, like, dude. Hang on. Trying not to get hit. Trying not to get hit. So here, the National Theater, the last theater on our list. We hit 6 theaters in about 40 minutes or so here in Washington, D.C. This is next to the Kennedy Center. This, I believe, is the largest theater. This is the one that has musicals for the most part. The other theaters are slightly smaller and more suited toward plays. In particular, the Shakespeare theaters are suited toward Shakespeare. This person cannot figure out how to park. She keeps driving backward. I always wish, like, I know how to parallel park. I'm a really good parallel parker. And I always feel like I should try to help people parallel park because this person has no flipping clue. And I won't film it because it's not funny. But this person has no clue how to parallel park. Especially on a one-way street. She's just cruising backwards on a one-way street. So this is the National Theater here in Washington, D.C. While we're here, we'll just take a look across Freedom Plaza to the D.C. government buildings here. The International Trade Center. And back to the theater. Hi, Edward. Great to meet you. Cones. Oh, yeah, there you go. Daryl. There's your cones, Daryl. There are your cones. Everyone's getting here. I guess it's an 8 o'clock show, but they're getting here at 7 o'clock. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, not on my list. Definitely not on my list of things to see. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, but not a fan of the story of the Cursed Child. But I am a fan of theater. How am I doing? Edward, I'm doing great. You caught me right at the end of the stream, but that's okay. We just visited 6 theaters. We began at the Klein Theater at the Landsborough, which is one of the theaters of the Shakespeare Theater Company. Then we visited Woolly Mammoth Theater, which is a smaller theater that hosts independent, I'd say, plays. Then we hit the Sydney Harmon Hall, which is the more modern Shakespeare Theater Company theater. Then we visited Ford's Theater, where President Lincoln was shot. On to the Warner Theater, right there on the corner, over there. And now finishing up at the National Theater. The only one we didn't hit is the Kennedy Center, but it's way too far away from here. So I'm just gonna continue my little walk here, wander my way around this block before I head home for the evening. I wanna thank everyone for joining me. Some have told me that my streams end too abruptly, and I'm sorry for that because I'm recording on a phone and I don't know any better. As soon as I end the stream, it goes private to render to the high def version or whatever. I'm not technical, but I will post this stream. Usually it's overnight, so I'll post the stream tomorrow as soon as it renders and is ready to post. Huge thanks to everyone for joining me on my little walk today. I hope wherever you are, you're having great weather and you have beautiful places and buildings to look at. Everyone, have a wonderful evening. Take care.